The air crackled with tension. A hush fell over the courtroom. The weight of history pressed down as the final arguments began. For weeks, the eyes of America, indeed the world, had been fixated on a Manhattan courthouse. Inside, a legal drama unfolded. Its protagonist, no ordinary defendant. This was no ordinary trial. This was Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, facing criminal charges. Never before had a former American president faced such a legal reckoning. The charges, stemming from alleged hush money payments made during the 2016 election campaign, struck at the heart of American democracy. The prosecution, led by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, argued that these payments amounted to illegal campaign finance violations, a grave threat to the integrity of U.S. elections. The defense, a team of seasoned lawyers, countered that these were simply private business dealings, unrelated to any campaign. The stakes couldn't be higher. A guilty verdict would be a seismic event in American history, a former president branded a criminal. An acquittal, on the other hand, could embolden Trump and his supporters, further deepening the political chasm that already divides the nation. As the lawyers prepared their closing arguments, one thing was clear. This trial was about far more than just Donald Trump. It was about the rule of law itself. The courtroom, typically a stage for dry legal arguments, had transformed into a crucible of American democracy. The outcome of this trial, many believed, would have profound and lasting consequences for the future of the nation. The world watched, holding its breath, as the final act of this extraordinary legal drama began to unfold. At the heart of the case lay a series of hush money payments allegedly made during the tumultuous 2016 presidential campaign. The prosecution alleged that Trump, through his then lawyer Michael Cohen, had arranged for payments to be made to adult film star Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen McDougal. These payments, the prosecution contended, were intended to suppress stories of alleged extramarital affairs, stories that could have damaged Trump's candidacy. The prosecution presented a trove of evidence, including financial records, emails, and text messages. These, they argued, painted a clear picture of a concerted effort to silence Trump's accusers in the run-up to the election. Key to their case was the testimony of Michael Cohen, who directly implicated Trump in the scheme. Cohen, once a loyal fixer for Trump, turned star witness for the prosecution, offering a glimpse into the inner workings of Trump's world. The defense, however, vehemently denied any wrongdoing. They characterized the payments as private transactions, unrelated to any campaign finance laws. Trump, they insisted, was simply trying to protect his family from salacious and false allegations. They attacked Cohen's credibility, painting him as a disgruntled former employee seeking revenge against his former boss. Throughout the trial, the courtroom became a battleground of narratives. The prosecution sought to portray Trump as a man who would stop at nothing to win, even if it meant breaking the law. The defense countered with an image of Trump as a victim, a successful businessman targeted by opportunistic accusers and a politically motivated prosecution. The jury, tasked with sifting through the evidence and legal arguments, faced the daunting task of separating fact from fiction. The prosecution's case hinged on proving intent. They had to convince the jury that Trump authorized the hush money payments with the specific purpose of influencing the outcome of the 2016 election. This, they argued, was not simply a matter of personal indiscretions, but a calculated attempt to undermine the democratic process. Central to their argument was the timing of the payments. All occurred in the final weeks of the 2016 campaign, a period when even the slightest scandal could have swayed undecided voters. The prosecution meticulously laid out a timeline of events, connecting the payments to key moments in the campaign. They argued that this timing was no coincidence. It pointed to a clear intent to suppress damaging information until after the election. The prosecution also emphasized the substantial sums of money involved. The payments to Daniels and McDougal were not insignificant. They were substantial enough to suggest a serious effort to buy their silence. Furthermore, the prosecution presented evidence that Trump himself had been involved in discussions about the payments, directly contradicting the defense's claims that these were simply private matters handled by his lawyer. Perhaps the most compelling evidence came from Cohen, Trump's former lawyer. Cohen testified that he had arranged the payments at Trump's direction and that Trump had personally reimbursed him for the money paid to Daniels. Cohen's testimony, while challenged by the defense, provided a first-hand account of the alleged scheme, linking Trump directly to the hush money payments. The defense, facing a mountain of evidence, adopted a strategy aimed at undermining the prosecution's case and sowing doubt in the minds of the jurors. They attacked the credibility of key witnesses, highlighted inconsistencies in the prosecution's narrative, and painted a picture of a politically motivated witch hunt. Their primary target was Michael Cohen, the prosecution's star witness. The defense relentlessly attacked Cohen's character, portraying him as a liar and a convicted felon seeking to save himself by falsely implicating Trump. They reminded the jury that Cohen had already pleaded guilty to lying to Congress about the hush money payments, casting a long shadow of doubt over his entire testimony. The defense also argued that the payments, even if made, did not violate campaign finance laws. They contended that these were personal expenses, not campaign expenditures, and therefore not subject to the same legal scrutiny. The payments, they insisted, were made to protect Trump's family from false and embarrassing allegations, not to influence the outcome of the election. Throughout their arguments, the defense hammered home the theme of political bias. They accused the Manhattan District Attorney's Office of pursuing a politically motivated prosecution, driven by a desire to take down Trump at any cost. They argued that the case was weak and built on the testimony of unreliable witnesses, all in service of a larger political agenda. By raising the specter of political bias, the defense sought to create an alternative narrative, one in which Trump was the victim, not the perpetrator.